How dare you talk to me about my friend's jobs in relationship to Trump? Like my one friend's husband, who just lost his job as a civilian contractor for the DoD thanks to Trump. His job was literally to make sure that America stays safe. How about my friends who are here on H-1B visas who are terrified they won't get renewed? How about my other friends who own or work for small businesses that the tariffs are going to take out of business? I hate to break this to you, but China actually creates jobs in this country. And I'm not just talking about the exports that China buys. I'm also talking about the products that China produces that American retailers sell. All down the supply chain here in the United States, we benefit from those Chinese products. So don't come at me and lecture me about losing jobs to China when all of the people that I know who are losing their jobs right now or will lose their jobs are losing them because of Trump and his tariffs.
We had the flag. I had the shirt. I was a MAGA junkie.
A MAGA junkie who thought her government job would be safe with Donald Trump in office. She was wrong.
I cried. It's scary, you know, it's a really scary thing. And I was embarrassed. He's a good boy.
Pigott was abruptly fired last month from the Treasury Department's Bureau of Fiscal Service, based here in Parkersburg, West Virginia. The reason given for the firings of 125 probationary employees at the Bureau? Poor performance.
I voted for Trump because I thought that his racist policies were only going to negatively affect those black and those brown people. I didn't realize he was also sexist and classist and was going to make working conditions for the average American worker more difficult or put small agricultural farmers out of business.
I had my last review on the 31st of January, and I had the highest rating that you can get on a review, less than 21 days before I was terminated for my performance.
You voted for Donald Trump.
I did.
Do you regret that vote?
Yes, I do. To cut the knees out of the working class Americans just doesn't make sense to me. I expected more from President Donald Trump.
Or not let women work in the federal government. I didn't realize that making the world unlivable for some would eventually affect me. Oh, you didn't realize? But it was fine, so long as those black and those brown people were suffering.
All right, I have some wild stories that will show you the real, on-the-ground effects of Trump's tariffs that went into place overnight. I mean, this one says, quite the sentence in the New York Post this morning, quote, a small business owner in Boise, Idaho got the shock of his life when he realized President Trump's tough trade measures meant tariffs on stock that he'd ordered jumped from $26,000 to $346,000 overnight. Quote, the 34-year-old married father of a toddler and a newborn said he didn't vote for Trump, but had been cautiously optimistic when he'd won the election, hoping, quote, we'd be in for a business-friendly environment. Obviously, he didn't vote for Harris, so now I'm sure he's going to sour on the Trump admin very quickly. And we have a bunch of stories like this. Actually, I have quite the exciting video for you today because I went and I found a bunch of stories of people complaining that Trump is nuking their portfolio, is hurting the economy, is hurting their businesses, and this is not what they voted for.
To all the people who think that manufacturing jobs are coming back to America, you do realize that any jobs that come back are going to be mostly automated, and they're not going to be like good paying union jobs. Any companies that come back are going to do to whatever industry they come back in what Uber did to the cab industry. Remember, we used to have taxis, and like taxi jobs was actually an okay job. It was actually, you could make a living, a good living being a taxi driver. And then Uber came in, and when Uber first showed up, they were so much cheaper than an actual cab that they literally drove all the cab companies basically out of business. I mean, there's still a few left, but most of your taxi companies are just gone because Uber came in and they took over the entire market by being so much cheaper than cabs. And then as soon as all the cabs were gone, they upped all their prices. So now an Uber costs just as much as a taxi used to, but the Uber driver isn't part of a union. Uber driver doesn't have any health benefits. The Uber driver doesn't have a 401k. All that extra money going straight to the top. They're going to do the same thing to manufacturing and any other industries that they bring back to America. If you don't think so, You don't understand capitalism.
But after that, I'm going to bring in an electric candidate for the mayor of New York City that is talking about how Trump is raising prices and how he'll lower prices. I'm incredibly excited for this conversation. So if you want to help me out, make sure you drop a like and make sure you watch until the end of the video to meet Zohran Mamdani, who is running for the mayor of New York City. But let's start here. You are destroying the market, says this person. This isn't what I voted for. If things don't turn back around soon and the markets get clearance, I'll be voting you out, and I'm sure many more will be doing the same that voted for you this term. I don't know how you're going to vote Trump out. Maybe he means in the midterms he'll vote, but this says, at Real Donald Trump, thank you for bankrupting me. I supported you. In fact, I voted for you in all 3 past elections. Now, because of your ill-thought-out tariff policy and the needless market crash you brought, I am insolvent and my life is over. Why did you have to do this? Someone said, I've honestly never been so disheartened or disappointed in someone I voted for. You have single-handedly crushed my investment account that was doing so well. I'm a hardworking, middle-class person with 4 kids who you, sir, have royally screwed over. Thanks a lot.
Not the loony liberals revealing that they like to take advantage of humans and exploit them. So this person wrote a comment on my post saying, no companies will ever manufacture in the USA due to high labor costs. This is why American companies manufacture overseas. We currently have Americans who will not do immigrants' work out in the field. Thank you. Thank you for telling us that you guys like to exploit human labor. You guys claim to be the party that's all about human equality, human rights, and no one is considered illegal on land that's stolen, but you clearly are pointing out that you believe you're better than these immigrants because they are the only people willing to go work out in the field. Because God forbid people like you are just way too good to be field workers, correct? And you're justifying that these greedy, wealthy billionaires that go overseas to outsource their business because they know it's cheaper to go to places like the Philippines and pay them pennies on the dollar compared to what US workers are going to demand for. Overwork these people under horrible working conditions, take advantage of possibly women and children that are doing labor work at a very young age because they're very cheap, because those are what your words are. And the only reason why I assume you're a liberal is because you follow this guy who clearly hates Donald Trump. So all you guys continue to do is when you make comments or you guys are out in the streets protesting and saying all your stupid crap, is you guys are revealing that you guys are the society that likes to take advantage of people, that you don't actually respect people as your peer. You look down to them because you believe you're superior to others, especially immigrants.
And I know that there's a lot of irony in these posts and that people always comment, don't feel bad, don't feel bad. But when I hear of somebody who very well could have just been my cousin or my aunt or my uncle who went down the wrong path politically, when I hear somebody struggling like this, it does make me feel bad, for sure. Someone said, I voted 3 times for you. I am the stupid one. This is the opposite of what I voted for. How could you cut the California State Library grant? How could you do that to those of us at the library who voted for you? This one's not even about tariffs. This one is about something completely different. You're turning your back on us. People had to be put on leave. Classic case of not caring until it affects me.
Honest and fair question. What did you expect? What did you expect making a TikTok saying that you voted for Trump and now because of the tariffs, your business is going to go out of business and you're asking for people on TikTok to help you? I think what's sad for me is it wasn't the fact that he is a misogynistic, sexist, rapist who really has it out for women. That wasn't enough. It wasn't that he's racist and has spewed racist hate, Latino hate, African-American hate. None of that mattered. Like, it didn't matter to you until your pocketbook, your bottom line was affected. So again, what did you expect? I mean, it was pretty brave of you to admit that and to come on and make a TikTok like that, but did you really expect for everyone on TikTok to be like, oh no, I'm so sorry, here's a Cash App, here's some advice? No, you around and now you're finding out. And it's not just that you voted for somebody and now your business is hurt, it's that you didn't care until your business was hurt. That's an issue. I don't feel sorry for you one bit. Love you, Slayers.
How could you side with Russia when Putin told BRICS his goal is to bring down our economy? Not what I voted for at all. Fix this. Someone said, @RealDonaldTrump, I want to believe there is something positive from all of this, but when so many people who voted for you are without a job, is America really great again? When will Americans feel whole again? Someone said, I work for an oil company. I don't like this. I voted for you, but maybe I'm regretting it. Biden was horrible, but this is equally as bad.
And I am absolutely going to implode and will not last.
This man is a 3-time Trump supporter. Evidently, he is a Trump supporter. He voted for Trump all 3 times, and he has a small business where he exports, I guess, wheels from China, and he is upset because the new tariffs that have been placed on China will drastically hurt his business. So he took to TikTok and complained about that. And then when people said, well, I'm sorry, you around and found out, this is the find out part, he came back on and crying, well, not literally crying, but complaining and whining about how people are taking joy in him and his family's suffering. This man is a 3-time Trump supporter. He was aware the tariffs were going to take effect. He just thought that somehow magically Trump would have in place the infrastructure that manufacturing could be switched here to the United States before the tariffs took an effect. So obviously he has no clue what kind of commitment that would take and what kind of time frame that would take. That's not something that was going to happen in the first year of Trump's presidency or any of the years of Trump's presidency. It's going to take a good decade if we truly try to switch manufacturing from overseas back to the United States, and not to mention the cost of goods being manufactured in the United States. So he's on here crying that people are being mean because it's his real family that is suffering. Yet he's aware of the Trump policies enough to know about the tariffs. Then he obviously knew about the attacks on marginalized communities, the attacks on immigrants, the attacks on the trans community, the attacks on the working class, the attack on our Social Security, on our Medicare, our Medicaid, the attack on the Affordable Care Act. I bet you dollars to donuts he is benefiting. If he's a small business and an independent business, I'll bet you dollars to donuts he's through his state's health exchange that was set up by the ACA, and that's how him and his family are getting health insurance. But he didn't care about any of that. He didn't care how it was affecting any other person when he voted for Trump. He just wanted to see those brown people gone and his grocery prices down and America being great again. Yet look, you f***ed around, you found out, now you're feeling the pain. Don't come crying to us, expecting us to give you sympathy.
And I am absolutely going to implode and will not last.
My throat is killing me, but let's talk about this. The very people that you voted against, Black and brown communities, LGBTQ plus people, women, immigrants, low-wage workers. We were the ones voting for policies that would have kept your business, your small business, afloat. We voted for economic relief, fair wages, livable wages, fair taxes. We were voting for you even when you were not voting for us. And now you are asking for help because you guys only care when it directly affects you. We have always been voting and trying to help everybody, and you guys have always been voting and trying to help yourselves. And the thing is, you cannot say that you did not know that this was coming. We forewarned you guys. We told you guys about the grab, and I'm sorry. It was incredibly obvious the things that this man wanted to do, and he's doing them. We have always been trying to help, and you only see it now because it is hitting your wallet. You voted for a man that promised tax cuts and then gave them to billionaires, but you knew that was the kind of person that he was. He imposed incredibly reckless tariffs that are now affecting you. Tried to gut the USPS, which a lot of small businesses rely on for shipping. Absolutely refused to increase minimum wage. Rolled back pandemic-era protections while the large corporations got bailouts. And while all of this was happening, you were silent, or worse, you were actually supportive of this still. You did not care when marginalized people lost access to healthcare, education, legal hiring rights, fair hiring protections. But again, it's about you. Now it's about your life. livelihood, so we're all supposed to just rally behind you. This is what voting against your own interests looks like, and just human beings in general. This is what happens when you treat it like a team sport. But let's be honest, you voted for this, you cheered for it, you supported it, and now you have to sit in it.
I just saw a video of a Trumper on here. You've probably seen it. And he's basically like, I voted for Trump. These tariffs are killing me as a small business owner. I need some help. Some Democrats in the comments are trolling him, of course. And someone commented like, I love this for you. And the Trumper replied via video. And he was like, oh, you love this for me, blah, blah, blah. What the fuck did you expect? We told you this and we got called elitist. We told you the impact tariffs have on the economy and you were like, you guys think you're so smart? This is basic knowledge. So the guy makes the video back and he's like, I knew Trump was going to tariff. I thought it would push people to build in the USA. I'm going to explain this to you like you're 5. Have you ever watched Shark Tank, okay? And a product's on there and the sharks go, why is it so expensive? And the person goes, it's made in the USA. Why do you think they say that? Why do you... Everything's more expensive in the United States. That's why we get things internationally. And as a small business owner, I'm surprised you don't know that. You didn't think this would start a trade war, huh? Like last time? And last time was significantly less than all the tariffs he's doing this time. Like, you don't get to play victim, okay? You were warned, you ignored it. Now you're paying the consequences for voting without knowing how things work.
Did you catch this headline? So Biden had increased the minimum wage for federal contractors to over $17 an hour. Donald Trump reversed Biden's action, reducing the federal contractor minimum wage back to $13.30 an hour. Can you imagine for a moment that you had finally started earning that wage, or you'd taken the job because that was the wage, and now you just had the rug pulled out from under you again? You know that in most parts of the country, a living wage is over $20 an hour. $13.30. Sound great to you? Doesn't sound great to me.